It is almost time now, isn't it, for more Caterham action. Let's go have a quick chat with some of the drivers whilst we're down here. We've got David Yates.
Simon Shaw
quick chat
on
with
pole
David
position
because
in number 86. He's got Tom
David,
Power.
it was anybody's for third, wasn't it? And just missed out. But what's the plan this time?
Oh, it was a great competition.
It was fantastic to
This
watch.
time, more of the same. Hopefully, one more place. At least one more place.
What about Jamie and Jason? Are they catchable?
Yeah, we messed up ourselves. We were just, every corner we were going into, we were compromising each other, and obviously allowed two of them to get away. So hopefully we can maybe a bit more sense this time and try and stick with them.
Fantastic. I'll let you get yourself ready.
Thanks.
Enjoy the sunshine as well, won't you? Let's go grab a quick word of Harry Kramer whilst we're over here as well. Harry, hello. You've done this car for me because red's my favourite colour. But we don't want to see any red flags, of course. Talk us through race one, first of all. How did it go for you?
Oh, it was madness. Absolutely frenetic, but really good fun. Yeah, it was all very clean racing. Unfortunately, Jamie and who was Jamie with?
Yes, Jamie Elwood won it, and then of course Jason came second. Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah, they unfortunately they both broke away, which was a bit of a shame because they were sort of towing each other around and scurried off. Yeah. So we were having our own little battle, but yeah, it was.
It's funny you say that. David said exactly that. Actually, we kind of let him get away.
Number 60,
yourself and you were all kind of mixing it together, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was changing with every corner. Yeah, it was really good fun.
Fantastic.
More of the same, hopefully.
More of the same, definitely. Thank you, Harry. Let's grab a quick word with Jason. I did want to speak to him because he was pushing Jamie so hard, wasn't he, in that race one? Can he get him this time? Jason. How you doing? Oh my word, race one was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good race.
You're going to get him this time?
Absolutely, payback. I'm not sure we'll break away in the toe this time.
Yes, yeah.
And I'd just like to say hello to all the spectators in Paddy's Bar who's watching me.
Nice.
I hope you're all getting very drunk.
Save a pint for us as well, please. Look, game plan, is it just, it could come down to the very last lap, couldn't it? In fact, it probably will come down to the last lap.
Yeah, well, the toe here is everything. Yeah, it will most certainly come down to the last lap. Awesome. There's no getting away here.
Jason, best of luck, and everybody at Paddy Bar, please, I really want a pint. Cheers. Thanks, mate. What a sight we've got of the cars. Just keep coming on a little bit longer just before we break off. I want to give a special mention as well to the Max 5 cars as well. They're right at the other end. But Paul Roderson, of course, taking the race one win. What's going to happen in race two? It's going to be full of excitement. Can these chaps here get to the front and tackle Jamie Elwood? He's the championship leader. We're about to find out. In fact, they've got to go out now. So I'm going to hand back to your commentator to talk you through the action. It's going to be a cracker.
These guys race for less amount of time, but that's just part and parcel of motor racing. When we've got quick turnaround races like this, it just happens. And as a driver, you're not going to really moan about not being on track for 2, maybe 3 minutes. It's part of what we get here, but still, really good stuff from Race Control, well thought out, nice and slick, and it gets us back on time, of course, for our very time-sensitive main event of the day, which will be the Silver Lake C1 Challenge 24-hour race. It's an absolute pleasure to be here for this as well. It's a fantastic event. I've watched it multiple times and always enjoyed the coverage and thought, I really want to go and see that one day. And here we are. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. Slightly down on the UK record-holding grid from 2019, of course. That is to be expected. The financial climate rather tumultuous in the last 12 months, and being budget racing, it will have affected a number of teams, but still to have well in excess of 50 cars for a 24-hour race is more than enough to keep us on our toes all throughout the race, and I have no doubt that there will be plenty of competitive teams in that order later on. No doubt we're going to have a very competitive race now for the Caterhams, and believe the front runners are just making their way around the last couple of corners to line up with you, Chaz.
They are indeed. It'd be a good thing if I turned my microphone on, not off, when I wanted to speak. But we have Griffiths in third place. Simon Griffiths alongside Matthew Willoughby in the red 82 car. Now that's an interesting second row. Those two both very quick indeed. So make sure you keep an eye out for them. They're definitely ones to watch as this race develops. It's still going to be quite a long race actually by Caterham standards, because usually you see these sorts of cars doing like 15-minute sprint races, don't you? They're usually very, very fast, short races. So we've got 60 just in front of me here now, which is a very, very lovely sort of dark grey, but with this blue highlight on it. It's a really nice looking livery actually. It's a very modern, sort of clean looking car. There's a number of brilliant liveries in the field, to be fair. It's hard to pick a winner out of these. Obviously a lot of them to an extent can start to sort of look the same with Caterhams because of the black arches on most of them. Not all of them have coloured arches at least. But we're about to get this race underway then, it seems. Everybody lined up on the grid. And the front pack is away now. That's the Sigmax cars. And then we're going to get a 10-second delay. And the Union Jack will be waved for the Sigma 135s. And they're off the line as well. Another great start for the 18 car, but it gets held up by one of the cars in front of him going slowly off the line. The 7 and the 92 are hugging each other to the left-hand side of the grid. But Adam, they've gone through with you, have they?
Yes, indeed, and it is the number 28 of Harry Senior that leads the way here in the Sigmax class. So a good start from Harry Senior. Here comes the Sigmax 135 order, and it's the number 70 that leads the way. Tom Power with his distinct blue and day-glow yellow. Some slight Valentino Rossi feel to that one. He's just ahead of the 86 of Simon Shaw. The rest of the field streams through. Looks like we've got everyone through the first few corners cleanly, which is good to see. Well over 30 of the Sigma 135s to file through from that second grid. Just the 10-second delay, so those front runners in Sigma 135 will definitely catch up to some Sigmax cars before the end of this one, which is a fun little extra element for them all to consider as the race wears on into the closing stages. Just over 19 minutes of racing then for them to take on in the next few moments. The first lap of the race now. We've started things in a slightly different way and have lost a bit of track time, as we said, but they won't be concerned about that. It's the 25 of Clark pressuring Senior as they come through, and it's the usual suspects in the top four. You've got the 28 of Clark of Senior, the 25 of Clark, the 16 of Griffiths, and then Winrow in the 24. Those were our primary protagonists earlier on, along with Burtonshaw in the lead battle earlier, and it looks like we've picked up right where we left off earlier.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment, is there? Side by side for second and third. Griffiths just trying to squeeze through there. Nothing quite doing for him this time round. But Winrow certainly looking feisty once again in that yellow car. Putting in a lot of effort. We've got somebody kicking up the dust, but it's the 28 of Senior that leads the way. Another one of the yellow cars actually making a move around the outside into Copse. They're literally every single car that I could see in the top 10 is side by side with another car at some point, Adam, as they come back to you, mate. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely, there's no category that's side by side more often than Caterham's, I don't think, and it's the 28 still in the lead, so Harry Senior retains for now. The 25 and the 16 still behind. The order has stayed the same in the top six since they last came into my line of sight, so that doesn't actually happen often. There's usually a dramatically different running order between the 2 points of the track I can see. Through into the lead, meanwhile, of the Sigma 135s, to the delight of some, just in the foreground of my line of sight, is James McCall. So James McCall was some fans here at Maggots Beckett. He manages to make it through into the lead of class just as they headed up into Maggots Beckett. He's followed now by Simon Shaw. Tom Power, I believe, demoted to third place in the Sigma 135 order. The lead battle shuffling across the last few corners, meanwhile, in the Sigmax category. We'll see what order they're in once they come through Abbey and Farm and back into my view, which should happen in a matter of seconds. They've gone through the second sector split, so they're with me now, and sure enough, it is a slightly different order. It is I think that's the number 25 of Clark that's made his way through into the lead of the battle, and indeed it is the 25 from the 28 of Harry Senior through into third place as well. Has gone Winrow in car number 24. Looks like Winrow has set himself up for a nice run onto the Wellington straight. Can he close up on the 25 and the 28? Senior's going on the attack. He's already made himself clear and moved to the inside as they go under the bridge down the Wellington straight and towards Brooklands. It's getting more and more overcast here. They're going to be keeping an eye on the above as well as the in front and behind, I think.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that there. It may actually get a bit cooler out on track over the course of this race, but I tell you what, the action is certainly hotting up instead, just to make up for it, because the top 6 are all together.
It actually already has got significantly cooler, probably by a couple of degrees. Yeah.
I was going to say, up here in the box as well, I've got a breeze coming through the door. Winrow and the number 28 of Senior are identical across the line. What was that between the two of them? Surely it was only a couple of thousandths. Senior's transponder, 5 thousandths of a second. Senior's transponder, a bit of a delay on that, but they are perfectly side by side as they come across the line. It's absolutely insatiable racing. You just cannot get enough of this, and we really do hope that this continues throughout the season for these guys. But when it gets back here at this point, Adam, to the 135s, we've got Power leading the way from Shaw, although actually that's just switched around again, a bit of a delay there. Shaw, McCall and then Power. Shaw won the race in the 135s in race 1, but they are again just one massive train.
Absolutely, both of the classes putting on excellent racing here. The 135s head towards Maggots Beckett into my line of sight now, and it is Shaw leading the way. Then we have the 50 of McCall and Power in third, as you said, side by side for fourth in class as well, but that one's resolved midway through Beckett's. Great to see both classes providing such levels of action. We are just about 14 and a half minutes left to run in the race. We're on lap number 3, and we'll see what Winrow can do. Winrow's been on a charge in the last couple of laps, made up 2 places last time he went past the start-finish line. Whether or not he's still in second place when he comes back into my view is, of course, rather unlikely, given the nature of the Hanger Straight and the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight as well, providing a good overtaking opportunity for these cars as they then duck through Abbey and Farm. Often come into Farm 2 by 2, and that is exactly what's happened on this occasion. It is still Clark in the 25 from Winrow in the 24, then through around the outside has gone a new protagonist in the battle there. I believe that's the number 82 of Willoughby that's got into third place there, unless I'm very much mistaken, and I'm actually not for once. The 82 car into third place, and Clark going on the defensive to try and hold on to his lead. Winrow has a better run down the down the Wellington Straight, so may well end up around the outside and into the lead at Brooklands.
And Winrow is indeed now the race leader once again, but everybody's queuing up behind him. How they're not making contact through there, I don't know, with the weight transfer from the left to the right through Luffield, balancing the car on the Power, then putting the Power down on the exit. Now Winrow is leading them all to run as far out to the left as he can, so they all get a big slipstream and a big slingshot down there. 3 wide across the line. Senior is down the inside of the pair of them, nearly making contact as they go down towards turn 1. Winrow's down to third place before he knows it. But then again, give it the Hanger Straight and he could get straight back in front of them all over again. I'm just going to wait to see the 135 cars come back through here, because I think any moment now, yes, they're just crossing the line now. I think it's still Shaw leading the way in that category. It is, yes, down in 20th place, but still overall leader in the 135s.
So it's Clark from Senior as they head out onto the Hanger Straight again, and this is classic Caterham racing. The top 8, top 9 cars all line astern, fighting for the overall lead here. The 135s come past me, and still the same as when you called it just a few moments ago there, Chaz, but a great battling for the lead at this stage of the race in both classes. And as you say, the 86 still in the lead, and in amongst, it should be said now, the Sigmax cars as well. So the 135 battle has very much caught up to the Sigmax cars at this stage, and it will soon become a little more challenging, a bit of a hostile negotiation among the tail of one group and the front runners in another. Often can cause some interesting action and racing out there on circuit. Of course, they're racing drivers. They won't care about being on separate classes. They will still fight each other tooth and nail so long as blue flags aren't a factor, and they are not. Side by side for the lead, it's Winrow just with a nose ahead, but the inside line, oh, he just about holds on to the inside line there with a bit of late braking. He did have Harry Senior just putting a speculative nose up the inside as they went into Village, but Winrow carried or covered it off very nicely. Griffiths is now in third place, so it's all shuffled again in the latter half of the top six. Senior goes to the outside as they go down the Wellington Straight and under the bridge, and once again it's going to be side by side as they go through Brooklands. No surprises there.
Indeed, yeah, rinse and repeat, boys. Winrow back in the lead of the race. Senior trying to go with him. Griffiths up there as well now. Clark just trying to keep an eye on everything that's going on in front of him and trying to see what advantage he could possibly carry with some triple slipstream down here. The rest of them seem to be just along for the ride for the moment, thinking about the long-term gain here. Number 82 of Willoughby making a move past the bright green car of Burtonshaw as they go down the straight. We've then got the 33 and the 9 together. I think the number 9 car of Sturgis didn't quite know that Cordy was alongside him there on the straight. They almost bang wheels as they go across the line. Now Shaw in the 86 has caught up to some of the Sigmax cars now. He's up there with McCall. They've actually passed Cahill, who's dropped a few places in the 91 machine. He's behind a few of them. But it's really good stuff from Shaw and McCall so far, but only 6 tenths between the two of them for that class lead, Adam.
Absolutely, still very, very close. Everywhere you look, realistically, there's not much breathing space in any of the classes. I think the battle for second in 135s is getting very interesting. I'm also noticing less panels on the cars lap on lap in that 135 battle as well.
It seems to be shedding.
Yes, just a little bit. I sympathise. My cat's been doing the same thing at home. But it's certainly a great fight. I look now to Abbey and Farm to see whether or not it's still Winrow in the lead. We'll see whether or not he's managed to hold on this time. He's not been able to break free. He's not done a McCormack, unfortunately for him. He's towing the remainder of the top 8 with him, and it's definitely not Winrow in the lead. It's actually quite a sizable lead as they head into Village for Senior. So Senior is, I'd say, the better part of 3/4 of a second clear. He's not in danger, I don't think, of being overlapped as they go through the Wellington Straight and on to Brooklands. I don't think it's quite the break clear of the rest of the pack that he would like, but he's laying the groundwork for it, certainly, and there's a bit of a gap between Winrow and the battle for third as well, with Griffiths, Clark, Burtonshaw and others all trying to find the same piece of tarmac.
And what's interesting is, although Burtonshaw was being overtaken by Willoughby on that previous lap as they crossed the line, Burtonshaw actually did the fastest lap of the race as well, so it just shows you that even though the guys are doing the fastest lap of the race, they're still potentially being overtaken by a car that's only a bit quicker in that certain bit. But yes, Senior is opening up that gap now ahead of the 24 of Winrow. Clark is now back ahead of Griffiths, Willoughby ahead of Gale, and Burtonshaw is down to 7th. And then Barrett in the number 1. He's sort of taking a bit of a backseat here to watch all this. Then you've got the 33, the 36, the 9. That's Cordy, Juro and Sturgis, with Bettinson, Marshall, Racing and Sagar just behind them. Big train of them. I'll keep another eye out for Shaw, who's actually gained another few places there as Shaw on some of the Sigmax cars. He's now up 3 places to 16th, but McCall is going with him here, Adam.
Yes, so it's a few of them trying to dig a tunnel to freedom and secure their places in the upper echelons of the field. There goes the 86, as you say, the 135 class leader. I think that's probably one of the nicest liveries out there, the black and yellow of Simon Shaw. It's a very purposeful looking machine. As you say, Shaw being followed by McCall. James McCall in the 50 has been briefly in the lead in this one. He led for quite a while in the first race, but didn't end up winning the class. He's just holding strong in second place as it stands at the moment in the Sigma 135 category. They continue to file past me. The 135s in particular having massive support here this weekend. Strength in numbers, certainly the name of the game in the 135s. The leading Sigmax cars, the overall leaders, now head towards me once again. Through Village and through the loop they go. And it is the number 28 still, Harry Senior. Still clear enough of Winrow in second place, not have to worry, but Winrow still has Clark for company. I think Clark is probably wise enough to try and work with Winrow here rather than against him. We've got 6 minutes left of this race, and so I think that there is still time for them to close back in on Harry Senior if they work together, and it looks as though they're starting to drop the cars behind them as well, so that victory could still be on for either Winrow or Clark.
Yeah, that's definitely it. They just need to think about the long-term gain now of how they can potentially overcome this brilliant pace by Senior. As you said earlier on, Adam, if you can break the slipstream in a Caterham race, you're doing something right. Griffiths and Willoughby right together across the line. Willoughby still just in front, but Griffiths had the slipstream and he's now actually gone around the outside on the way into Copse. So big commitment. Then we look back to the next train that are just coming through Woodcote now, the 33 and the 9. That is Cordy and Sturgis right together. They're side by side now down towards Copse. I think it's Sturgis that's just got in front. There's a move a little bit further behind them as well. A look down the inside from one of the blue cars. Didn't quite catch the number of that one, I'm afraid, but a really serious look down the inside into Copse. He didn't seem to back out of it. So more battling coming your way, mate.
Yeah, there's no half measures when it comes to making a move at Copse, is it? I think it was the 39 car that had a go there, ended up falling off the rest of the pack that they're strewn in. The 39 isn't on the first page of the timing screen, so I'm going to have to reach my TV remote. I don't have
I think that's Peter Marshall.
There you go.
39.
You see, you have a multitude of screens, so you have the luxury to just flit your eyes, which is always nice to have. All the boxes here at Silverstone, though, rather well equipped with the timing screens and plenty of power sockets if you wish to try and have additional screens, as I have in here now. I've got about 3 screens pointed at me, all showing me different things. We do have one car that's rather on its own island. That's number 13 of Merton Wood, and I think he, before the end of the race, may end up being lapped, and that might be an extra obstacle, particularly for the battle for 4th place. Battle for 4th place is now rather separate from the top 3. It is still being led by Griffiths with Burton Shaw and Willoughby in hot pursuit, but they have rather fallen back from Clark and Winrow, and it is Clark that leads Winrow as they go down the Wellington Straight this time. Now Winrow darts to the outside as they go through Brooklands. I think this is going to be another one of those no work with me moments for Clark, but of course both of them want to be the car that leads the train up towards Harry Senior.
Yeah, that's it. You want to be sort of showing your intentions by, well, leading by example, quite literally, really. You want to be saying, look, this is what we're meant to do, don't overtake me. But it's so difficult to communicate like that with drivers while you're out on track. It's pretty much impossible, let's face it. Now, back on the back of Willoughby is Burton Shaw. Now, Griffiths opened up a little bit of a gap, but down the straight, more slipstreaming is just dragging him back to that pairing of the green and red car. But still nothing doing there for the pair of them. Senior, Winrow, Clark still top 3. This is probably the least amount of position changes we've seen in a few laps from these guys.
Yes, it changes kind of from, I'm effectively sat at both halves of the circuit, and it does change. We may have some issues here because there is a car spun into the gravel on the exit of Village Loop, but just gets himself back underway. Who was at the wheel of that? It's the number 57, so that's, I think, a little far back in the 135 category, but going for a loop was Simon White, I believe, there, but carries on, manages to get himself out of the gravel from a standstill, which isn't always the easiest thing, but we'll be thanking him for that, because that means we can get to the end of this race in green flag conditions.
We had a moment as well, for the number 10 of Philip Clark. He's just decided that the spectators that we have at Luffield deserve a shower of dust. So he's just had a bit of a moment through there and kicked up a lot of dust their way, but he continued. He didn't really lose too much in the way of positions, just a bit of momentum, I think, of his own sort.
Certainly looks like a bigger gap this time between Senior and the battle for second place. I think Winrow and Clark have certainly fallen out of any opportunity to take the victory here. 90 seconds still on the clock, so Harry Senior will cross the line this time to begin the final lap as he now goes down the Wellington straight. Winrow is still in second place, but here comes Clark with another great run down the Wellington straight. Will he go to the outside or the inside? I think he wants the outside, but he's going to have to take the inside or just bide his time a little longer.
Yeah, a bit of mind games going on here, as we saw earlier on in one of the previous races in the Caterhams. You need to just be the car that is in the slipstream onto the final lap, not the car that is giving the slipstream onto the final lap, because that instantly you can just wait behind them until your last opportunity. So at this moment, it's what can Clark do against Winrow. He's actually slipstreaming right up to the back of him now. Winrow goes over to the right to defend on his way into Copse, but nothing doing this time round. I feel that he may go for it sooner rather than later, because let's not forget, not all of these drivers are that experienced in racing in general, so they may not be thinking about, you know, making the slipstream move on the Wellington straight. They might just try and do it as soon as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. There's differing strategies, differing philosophies was the word I was looking for there, in what to do in the midst of battle in these Caterhams. We are just about to tick over to the 0 second mark, so Senior is on his final lap of the race with 3.1 seconds in hand. He has nothing to worry about, but that isn't stopping him from going quickly. His last lap of 2:26.026 was his personal best of this race, and only a tenth off the fastest lap we've seen in the race from anybody. So Harry Senior is making use of the lack of pressure by going exceedingly fast at the wheel of his car. We've seen the Sigmaxes get quicker and quicker compared to the Sigma 150s, which effectively superseded the Sigmax cars. They're about doing the same speed now, so very impressive stuff from Senior and the gang at the head of the Sigmax class. I believe that's Harry Senior just coming back into my line of sight. It is, and he's got acres between himself and Winrow and Clark now. It's Winrow in second place as they go into Village. Clark is right there with him. Also, the battle for fourth place between Griffiths and Willoughby is still very close indeed. Good run out of the loop from Clark. Almost, I think, had to back out of it just a little bit there to ensure that he had the slipstream on Winrow heading up the Wellington straight, and I think that might have cost him. He dives to the outside. It's side by side for second place as they head toward Brooklands for the final time. No question over the winner, but second is anyone's guess.
Yes, indeed. Winrow and Clark still side by side around Luffield. Looks like Clark's going to try and get some sort of cutback. But what a brilliant performance that was by the number 28 car. Harry Senior takes the checkered flag and takes the win in the final race of the day here for the Caterhams. And just across the line, what is the gap between the 24 and 25? It goes the way of Winrow by 21 thousandths of a second, 25 thousandths between Griffiths and Willoughby as well, just behind. Burtonshaw has dropped down a number of positions on this final lap. I think he's had a big issue, although he has actually crossed the line there in 8th place, but 2 minutes 32 for him there, so he's lost a bunch of time. But still, what an amazing race at the front. Senior taking the win. Winrow and Clark always entertaining throughout that. Griffiths and Willoughby as well, providing more entertainment. Further back, I look for the number 86, the bright yellow machine of Shaw, and I think just for safe measure, he's going to try and overtake another Sigmax car on the line, the number 50 machine. He might just do it. I don't think he did.
No, Sigmax, that's not a Sigmax car. That's McCall winning the 135 class, yeah.
Yes, sorry, he came past last time round. I thought there'd be no one in front of him. McCall wins it by 32 thousandths of a second. My mistake, apologies.
Two front-running battles in both classes coming down to just a few hundredths of a second. It's
unbelievable.
Further evidence of what we all know about Caterham racing. So great to see McCall get that victory. It was rather hard earned. He was up and down the top 3, top 4 positions quite a lot in the first few laps of the race, and bided his time in P2 for quite a while there, and managed to launch the attack on the very final lap, seemingly at the very final corner.
We've just had an amazing train cross the line for 30th place down, so meagre wins by a very meagre margin in the 79 car, out of that battle anyway. He finishes 30th, and then the cars all the way down to 36th place. We're only covered by about 2 seconds for 6 of them. 7 of them, sorry.
It's interesting, isn't it? I write little notes as the race goes on with a view to chatting to the drivers, a little aide-memoire for the interview at the end of the race. And in the class battle, so in the 135s, I wrote down rare for Caterhams for the positions not to change. Well, I wrote that before the final lap, and I goodness me. It had been, the top 3 had been twas ever thus throughout the race, hadn't they?
Oh,
yes, yeah.
Just on the last lap.
Phenomenal stuff all the way through from those guys, and of course Alan will have have at least one of the drivers, I imagine, in a few minutes' time to have a quick chat.
I've sort of worked out this jumping out and stopping people. I've realised that the streaming people only seem to stop the winner, so if I can try and catch hold of James McCall as well, that would be quite nice to hear about that tale of biding time throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely. There was a wonderful bit of mind games going on there. As I mentioned to you before, you know, you don't want to go on to the final lap being the car in front. You want to be the car behind, because you are the one that's got the decision to make then. Where do you hang back, and where do you make the inevitable move down the straight when you get the slipstream? It's a beautiful position to be in, really. As the cars make their way now into the pit lane, they'll be with you in just a moment, Alan.
So they're going to pull Harry to the right, and he comes to a stop. So streaming will chat to Harry, but I need to keep an eye out for number 50, don't I? The winner of the 135s.
Well, welcome back everybody down to Winners Row, and it has a very familiar feeling, doesn't it, from race 1. Yet again, this man, Harry, you can leave your balaclava on if you like. I must stop meeting you like this, because people are going to start talking. Another win in that one. Very difficult the first half. A tale of 2 races for you, wasn't it, really? First half, a lot of pressure. Second half, you managed to get away a bit.
Yeah. No, first half was flat out, full on, 4 of us just going at it. And then, I don't really know. I don't even really remember what happened. I just remember looking in my mirror and starting to build a bit of a gap.
Yeah.
I guess they were just squabbling among each other.
Yeah, certainly Stephen and Ben they're just battling, trying to get past so they can make and try and catch you up. But it was costing themselves time, and it was allowing you to run away.
And then they caught a back marker as well at one point, so just in the wrong place going through Vale. So, but a good few seconds lead. Definitely, it means more than winning just by a 1/10 of a second. It's more complete,
A rarity, isn't it? It's not often. I mean, 3 seconds might not sound a lot, but it's an eternity in these cars, isn't it?
Caterham racing, the standard is a 1/10 or less to win by. But so it feels great to win by a large margin like that.
Harry, congratulations. Could you just stay here, because I know the circuit commentator wants to grab a word of you as well, if that's all right. Whilst we're here, we're going to grab a quick word with James McCall as well. He's your 135 class winner. Incredible stuff. In fact, he did it bang on the line, didn't he? How exciting was that? We'll grab a quick word with him very, very shortly. Incredible racing for the Caterhams. We've seen it all day long. In fact, we see it every time we come to a track with the Caterhams. I'm a bit sad that that's actually it for the weekend for the Caterham graduates. So James McCall won it on the absolute death, didn't he, from Simon Shaw. Wow, it was very, very close. Stay with me, because I'm going to grab James very, very shortly for a very quick word. Here he comes. James, you've got to do all the media duty bits and bobs, haven't you? But, blimey, you didn't have to cut that one fine and leave it late, did you? Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't need to leave it that tight. I had 10 laps to figure out exactly where I was going to be quicker, and by sitting behind him, I was able to save the tyres a little bit. I had a little bit more left at the end. I pretty much planned exactly where I was going to get him. There was a lot of litter on the track around that area, which made it a bit more tricky.
It was not me, I promise. My litre goes in the bin.
But yeah, it was pretty. I don't know what the timing said, but it looked quite tight on the line.
Incredible,
I wasn't sure.
0.02 of a second or something crazy like that. It was very tight. Congratulations, James. You picked up the class win. There you go, fantastic stuff. Again, congratulations to Harry Senior. He's made it a pair of wins. James McCall won it on the line in the 135 class. And guess what's coming up next? Yes, we have a 24-hour race coming up, the C1s. I think we might head off to a little break, but I'm going to hand back to the commentator to tell you what's going to happen next.